Jarring, isn't it? Well, that's your intro. Hey, it's Darth Paradigm. How you guys doing? So here we are, brother and sister, finally together. Although I don't know which one's the brother and which one's the sister. But now that you've seen these two together, let us put my savior away. And let's focus on the Butcher. Yes, the mighty, super uncomfortable to handle Butcher that everyone seems to complain about. Although I don't think it's that uncomfortable, the saber. Oh yes, it is uncomfortable to be certain, but you can get past that if you're tenacious enough. Anyway, so here's the pommel, and there's your vents, and you just heard them vents are pretty darn loud, aren't they? Yeah. All right, so there is our pommel. And there's these little rivets, or whatever they are. Or not rivets. They look to be screws, utilizing a hex key to remove the claws. If you're so inclined to make this a far less attractive, but easier to handle saber. Here's your CoverTech wheel. Note that the CoverTech wheel aligns with the flush part of the claws so as to be put onto the belts without skewering yourself. Alright, let's set this thing down again. Alright, from here on out, I think I can just kind of approach this from the one angle and successfully accomplish the task at hand, which is to review this really insanely brutal saber. So, they were kind enough to add scallops or rounded, I guess you could call them concave bits here for your hand to rest. So obviously that's pretty much where you're going to be handling this saber, is right here. It's pretty much about it. So this is a good old-fashioned bludgeoning saber of doom. That's what it is. And it's a heavy beast for sure, but it swings. It's tiresome, but it's not entirely unpleasant. I find that with the heavier sabers like this, if you let the saber do most of the work and let inertia kind of guide the saber, it's not just, such a nightmare. So they have these little cutout bits here, which are anodized in there. And this thing arrived. I keep finding little bits I have to spit and polish up. For some reason, this particular saber arrived to me a little bit on the dirty side. But dirty's the name of the game, I guess, when it comes to this saber. So I don't really mind it too much. There's a lot of detail on this thing. Not so much in the handle. It really starts getting interesting when you get around to the switch section. You got this little button, which, I don't really know if that holds like the switch assembly in place, but the the etchings, these patterns, I'm a big fan of that on my Ultrasabers Hilts. The Butcher, I believe, just automatically comes with these patterns, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. A lot of times you have the option of ordering the saber without those patterns, but I don't know why you would, other than to save money. But if you got the money to buy the saber, you might as well go for all the accoutrements, I say. One of the details I like is I like how the claw, when it crosses this section, the switch section, there's a little bit of a gap there that lets light in. I don't know why. It's a subtle thing. I noticed the little subtle nuances of a saber, and I really like that. I don't know. I think it's kind of cool. With my Ultra Sabers, I've gotten away from using backlit switches. I find that their power draw, I don't really aesthetically like the way they look. I like the standard anti-vandal switches, which is what you have on here. It's a little bit of a momentary switch. So I prefer the AV switch without lighting in the back, save a little bit of money, save a little bit of a power draw, and aesthetically, I just prefer them. I don't know. I think they look a lot better, but that's my opinion. And the other detail with any Ultrasabers is I will always opt for the windows. I really like what Ultrasabers does with these windows. I mean, I know this is just a matter of leaving it unfinished. You know, it's just an aluminum with the anodization around the surface. But when they leave that shiny aluminum bare, the light just tends to pop right through that, as I will display right now with a bunch of noise. Now, that particular window, which just happened to be the one that I chose, has a little bit of residual machining, some, I don't know what I can't remember the word, but that can easily be removed. I just need to get in there with something. It's like a shaving. You can kind of see that's just sort of a shaving of aluminum. That happens in the machining process. It's just a matter of removing the blade and just kind of getting in there with something and knocking it out. So it's no big deal. Yeah. So the claws, surprisingly, are not that sharp, which is nice. Some of the sabers I have, these are not as rounded as this, so I'm not really too concerned about injuring myself on that. So good job in that department. Let's see, where is the blade retention screw? There's the blade retention screw right there. And of course, being an Ultrasaber, you don't have an LED retention screw because they don't bother with that. Who needs it? Who needs that? That's just a bunch of extra hooey-and nonsense. It's a bunch of malarkey. The only people that would want such a thing is pretty much everybody in the Saber community. But whatever. So the way it works is essentially you insert the blade, and the blade holds the LED in place. Moving on. So here's the emitter, and the emitter is kind of an MHS compatible piece. This can be removed, as I found out. I think it screws in right where it meets, somewhere in here. Where exactly? I don't know. Yeah, I think it's where this aluminum bit meets this anodized, this black bit. So this utilizes the Obsidian V4 soundboard. So it has, I believe it's six fonts, plus the seventh, which is mute. And I'm currently using Ancient Saber as my default font, because if anything looks like an Ancient Saber, it's definitely the Butcher. And being Darth Revan's saber from the Old Republic, it's definitely ancient enough. So installed, I have a 32-inch Ultra Edge mid-grade blade, and the saber utilizes the violet amethyst LED with a silver, aka white, flash on clash, as I will demonstrate now. So as you can hear, this saber is plenty loud. And of course, this particular sound font is a cacophony of joy and misery and suffering and domination and just the ever slightest hint of torment thrown in there for good measure. So as you can see, it's very bright, it's very heavy, it's very loud, it's very brutal looking, and it's a wonderful addition to my collection. I've been kind of obsessing over this saber a little bit. I received this at the same time as my Guardian, and I love the Guardian, and I will be reviewing that one next, although tomorrow is a special day, as you will find out tomorrow, if the post office does their job and delivers the goods. And the goods that they're going to be delivering are the really good goods. So I'm looking forward to a bit of an unboxing, and we're going to go a little bit nuts and have a party. I'm pretty excited. If you know what I'm talking about, go ahead and mention it in the comments, because I think everyone knows what could possibly be arriving tomorrow. At any rate, so yeah, let me give you kind of one end to the other tour here of the Ultrasabers Butcher. It is a very grandiose saber. Yes, Ultrasabers are large. Yes, their electronics are a little bit, they are what they are. But I have to tell you, for my money, for the bang for my buck, I'm perfectly happy with most of my Ultrasabers hilts. And they arrived to me in good, fully functioning condition. Yeah. So, yeah, the Ultrasabers Butcher, I give it 10 out of 10. This, of course, is just the standard finish version. I do believe that there is a blue finish, i.e., aka Azure. There's the Crimson, and we all know who likes the Crimson. And I think they maybe do a gold / brass version, whatever it is, if I'm not mistaken. But I went for this one because it matches my Savior, which I'm reaching for right now. Let me put them back together. No, okay. Here we go. As you can see, my Savior, albeit limited to the Obsidian light, and of course it doesn't have the windows. I bought this one used for a pretty penny on eBay, and it's been a very reliable, albeit a bit beat up saber, but none the worse for wear. And I wanted to make sure they matched, so that's why I kind of went with the same finish. Otherwise, I may have gone with the Azure. I like blue. When I was growing up, red was my favorite color, and as an older individual, black is my favorite color. So I'm going to serenade you out as I serenaded you in. And I hope everyone has a wonderful evening. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe, practice social distancing, wash your hands, wear your masks, do all that good stuff, and we'll get to the next level. All right? I love you guys. You have a wonderful night. Take care now. Bye.